who patriot love in all of us command. Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée de plus brillant exploit. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Joel. Wonderful job as always.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Clerk, do we have any addendum items?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No addendum item. Oh, sorry, we do have one addendum item this evening. And that addendum item is item 15, Planning and Development Report number 2016-107. Sea shipping, containers, railroad cars, truck body, trailers, and wheels. Received for information.
Thank you. I need a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting of Committee of the Whole, 11/16, held on June 13th. Mover, Councillor Desmarais, seconder, Councillor Main. All in favor? Any opposed? That would be carried. Determination of items requiring separate discussion. Any on my? None? None for you? Wow. I don't think that's a record, is it?
I think so.
So there are no items being pulled. Is there anything that has to be pulled? Mr. Clerk? Anything? Nothing? Nothing has to be pulled, okay? Okay, so a mover, seconder, mover and a seconder, all in favor that there are no items? That would be carried. Thank you. So, Mr. Clerk, do we have to do the next one then? We'll go right to the adoption of the minutes. Adoption of the, which minutes, Mr. Clerk? June. Mover and a seconder, and all in favor of accepting the minutes? There, perfect, thank you. Now we're going to move on to my favorite part, and that is presentations and recognitions of students from Port Colborne High. So, Councillor Main, Deputy Mayor, with me, if you could help me with that, that would be great. Thank you and welcome. It's always nice when I see a big turnout like this, because I know you're all here to recognize students who have done an amazing, amazing job in our community, and ones that we're very, very, very proud of. So tonight we have students from Port Colborne High, and we're recognizing their achievement and skills in the technological competitions and in music and in French. For each of one of you that are here tonight accepting your certificate from the city, you're an inspiration to your fellow students to work hard and achieve your goals and make similar accomplishments. I'd like to call up the principal of Port Colborne High School, Ann Kennerly, to say a few words. And she's going to play us a little video as well. So Ann, welcome to the podium. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Could we play the video first? I don't know who to address my question to, but we have the video. Thank you. Et voila. Good evening, and thank you to our acting mayor, B. Kennedy, Port Colborne City Councillors, Port High parents, students, fellow citizens, and guests. My name is Ann Kennerly, and I'm the proud principal of Port Colborne High School. And as you can see from our video, I have a lot to be proud of. Our students are going places, and Port Colborne High School has it all. Port High's motto, Ad Astra per Ardua, means to the stars through hard work. And this motto has been the inspiration of Port Colborne High School students and staff, Blue Bears, since 1923. Port Colborne High School has embraced this motto as your community high school, an innovative school, and a school that embraces the tradition of academic excellence. Tradition, community, and innovation. It's all here at Port Colborne High School, where over 40% of our graduates earn gold and silver medals every year for academic excellence, and where at our graduation on Wednesday night, over $23,000 in scholarships and bursaries will be awarded to our students again this year. You've all probably seen the banners to celebrate Port High with the words tradition, community, and innovation. And it is a combination of these three things that make Port High the community high school in Port Colborne, your community high school. It's all here at Port Colborne High School. Academics always flourish at Port High. Students win gold and silver every year in French and music competitions, and you'll see some of our award winners tonight. They score above the DSBN in the province on EQAO scores. They place first, second, and third in provincial geography competitions, and you'll see some of those winners here tonight. We reach OFSA and SASA every year. And we have won back-to-back gold in the Ontario and the Canadian National Welding Championships. Certainly a tradition of excellence. Community. This tradition of academic excellence could not exist without the support of a strong and dedicated staff and local community. From our clubs and activities, from our Christian Fellowship Club to our Blue Bear Cycling Club, it's all here at Port Colborne High School. Our tradition of excellence also includes a strong parent community who expect and demand academic standards. Our community is also about our teaching staff, the majority of whom live in our community. This is the kind of community-minded, dedicated academic staff that parents want for their children. It's all at Port Colborne High School. Our students as well demonstrate their community spirit by giving back to the community through Terry Fox participation, fundraising for local families, and at Port Cares, for example. Other schools struggle to create this kind of community because sometimes it doesn't really exist. But that's not a problem at Port Colborne High School. We represent the community of Port Colborne, and we are proud to be the community high school in Port Colborne. Tradition, community, and innovation. Innovation, Port Colborne High is on the cutting edge and always has been when it comes to lesson design, teaching methods, and the use of innovative technology in the classroom. This coming school year, I'm proud to announce that Port High will be offering 3 additional university-bound courses for our senior students. They are Senior Law, Native Studies, and World Religions. It all happens at Port Colborne High School. Add to that 5 on-site specialist high skills major programs in health and wellness, manufacturing, hospitality, transportation, and arts and culture. It is clear. It's all at Port Colborne High School, your community school. Port High has a tradition of academic excellence, a strong community bond, and a commitment to innovation. Port Colborne High School, where we build strength of character through embracing our diversity, and where we equip all of our students for the success they need in the modern world. Thank you for this opportunity to highlight the students of Port Colborne High School, and I enjoy being here tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. I'm going to start off, and again, I can't say how proud we are, this council and the community, but I should recognize your guidance counselor who's in the audience with Ann Kennerly, and that's Barkley Walker. So I went to the guidance counselor many times in high school, and I can tell you I never ever said I want to be a municipal counselor, but I'm here. I hated public speaking too. Honestly, I did when I was in high school and grade school. But anyways, I'm going to start with the skills competition winners. And just so parents know, it's our community schools that are training our students in the trades that will help, hopefully, keep them in our city and with viable employment opportunities with our local businesses. The following students competed in the District School Board of Niagara Skills competition earlier this spring. Some of them went on to provincial competition in Waterloo in May, and one student went on to the national competition in Moncton earlier this month. I'd like to call up Justin Nesbitt. So your mom? Oh, okay. I got to check on it. Okay, so Justin won a gold medal in welding for the District School Board of Niagara in skills competition. He went on to the Ontario Technological Skills Competition and earned another gold medal. And it was the 8th consecutive year that the school has had a welding student compete at the provincial level. Justin carried on to the national competition in Moncton 3 weeks ago, and he faced some pretty tough competitors from Saskatchewan, Quebec, and the Northwest Territories, and he placed 6th out of 13, which is a very respectable position. And while he didn't win a medal, just the sheer experience of competing at this level is quite an accomplishment. So Justin, Mom, if you can tell him, he's made us very, very proud. Both the council, the community, his peers, and so congratulations to him. Next. Next, I'd like to call up Robert Klanowski. Is he here, Robert? And Robert, and how about a Cameron LaSalle? Okay, Cameron, great. They won gold medals in the Geographic Information Systems Teams Division. Just wait 1 second. We want to take your picture. I think somebody. They went on to the Ontario Skills Competition, and they received a silver medal. This is Robert's second time at the provincials and Cameron's first gold medal at the local level after receiving silver last year. So you move up the grade there, Cameron. Good job, good job. I'd also like to call on Hunter Thomas. He's in the audience. And Hunter received a gold medal in precision machining and went on to the Ontario competition. So he finished a respectable 5th at the province. So that is great as well. Next, I'd like to call up Michael Benson. Is Michael here? Okay. And Michael received a bronze medal in precision machining. And now Dakota Marco, who won a silver medal in Automotive Service Challenge Division. I'm going to turn that around so we can see this. Now,
She wants her card fixed.
okay. Take your pen. All right. Good job. I'd like to call up Creek Barrick. And he won a bronze medal in the welding division. Good job. Thank you. And Caitlin Bolshe, did I say that right? Boucher. And she won a bronze medal in the baking. What'd you bake? What kind? Did you get it? Okay, okay. And now we're going to move on to the. It's not here. He won that. Where did he win that? Griffin Pearson. It's not here, right? And now we're going to move on to the French public speaking competition. French, I couldn't stand public speaking. Now this is French public speaking, so that must have been really hard. So this is 4 students from Port High received medals in this competition. I'd like to call on Brittany McDonald, who won a silver medal for senior core French. And Nicole Smith, silver medal. And Jake Richard, who won a gold medal for the junior French immersion. Hey, what's that?
Good job. Good job.
I was waiting for you to join. I was waiting for you to join them. I was just telling Jake I was waiting for someone else to join in with our in-house when we do the national anthem, because he's the only one that's well, Yvonne Doucette when Yvonne Doucette's here, but he wasn't here tonight, so I was waiting to hear that in the background. Janelle Patel. Janelle won a silver medal in the senior core French. And the Port Colborne Festival of Arts is also a time for students in and around Port Colborne to shine with their artistic talents. This year, a group of students from Port High, known as the Blue Tones, received a silver standard and best performance in the secondary school jazz band category. Silver standard significance and above average quality of performance with latitude for improvement. I'm going to call out the names of the members of this group, and if you would just come out up to the front here, and maybe we could get our in-house photographer here to come and take a picture of this whole group. That's great. Just stand in front of the council members, and Deputy Mayor Main will hand out these certificates. Adam Augustine, Connor Buchanan, Nick Busey, Caitlin Chambers, Brandon Crichton, Justin Doolittle, Tegan Edwards, Jack Fagan, Victoria Fraser, Jordan Goins, Dylan Graham, Devin Grover, Lucas Hoyle, Wesley Johnson, Megan Kapelis, Emily Kendrick, Cameron Lascell. Cameron, I know you're here. Holly Lascell, Madison McAvoy, Victoria McIntyre, Rebecca Rizzo, Jacqueline Slater, Carson Sword, Jessica Sturridge, Allison Taylor, Caitlin Van Kraligen, Megan Van Light, sorry, Asher Wines, and Carrie Wynn. They'll be all on the bottom. And we're going to let them go up to the front. But congratulations. Thank you. Cameron, you got yours? Everybody got theirs? No. could turn them, and then we'll go up here to the front and get your picture. That's it. So we're going to take their picture up front for parents who want to get a picture. Okay, perfect. So all the rest of the awards that I've already presented, if you could come up front as well so we can get your picture, that would be great. I think we have one more group though. Yeah. Yeah. So if everybody can just stay up there and be very proud that you're up there with your achievement, that's great. Yeah, there's one more group. Yeah. This is the Cadence. This is the Cadence group, and they were, they're known as Frequency. They received a gold standard best performance in the secondary school show choir. Gold standard significance that the ensemble is demonstrating an exceedingly high standard of musical performance. I'm going to call out the name of this group, these groups, and they can stand up there as well. With this group, Amber Baxter, Bobby Baxter, Frequency. She should be right on top. Amber? Congratulations, Amber. Thank you. You've made us very proud. Bobby? Thank you. Brandon Creighton? No. Rosie Culp? Julia Dell? Haley George? Carly Irving? Emily Johnson? Wesley Johnson? Brooklyn Parisi? I think I called Rebecca Rizzo? Jasmine Tweedy? Caitlin we have up there already. Some of these groups you'll see they were in both, so they won awards in both. So that's like a fantastic. So one more. I think that's everybody from that group that is here. Now the final group is known as Cadence, and they received a silver standard in the secondary school concert band category. The silver standard significance and above average quality of performance with a latitude of improvement. And these are the following members. I'll call out your names. Myra Anderson. Pa? No. Adam Connor Buchanan. No, I called them Jack before. Devin with this. Okay. Who else is out there that won a certificate? There's no use because they're repeats. They're repeats of the same group. And look at that fine group. Look at that. I think they really deserve it. We should be extremely proud of your accomplishments because you've made us extremely proud. And we're glad we're able to celebrate this accomplishment with you at City Council. And I really want to thank, though, the teaching staff and guidance for nurturing and guiding these students. There they are. They're our leaders of tomorrow. And to the families that support these students and the excellent skills that they have, thank you for coming tonight and showing your support. We have a great community, and the students are our future. And all of us, for all those ones that are up there, should be very, very proud of them. And we are certainly here at City Council for their achievements. So thank you very much, staff and parents. There they are. They're your kids.
We can have the skills people in behind, standing row in behind, and then we're going to yell everyone in front. Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys should get in the picture.
Just wait till they get them all organized.
for you, John. All right. Excellent. We're trying to keep skills. That's the tallest gentleman who's got. That's why we know. Maybe more in the middle there. Switch with this guy here. So we've got acting mayor and deputy mayor.
Why didn't you?
And I don't have to kneel, so there was the
I know.
I think that's what we need, right? Everyone good with that? Everyone's good with that?
Mr. Barker needs to be up there. Yeah.
Mr. Barker.
Mr. Barker, sit up there.
And should be up there too. Yeah, he's up there too. Someone's talking to me. Nobody gets out of this easy. Thanks, John. Oh, thank you. I think maybe.
Personality.
I see Joel's already got the new anthem. Joel's got the new anthem already.
I know, that just, I forgot how ticked off I was by that until he said it, and then I thought, oh, because you got some idiots on and they spend all their money and time doing that rather than making appointments.
I said I had to make it gender neutral, and I had no idea what they were talking about.
I know. Oh, because some women got upset.
Because the sun was coming in.
Yeah. It would be Bart. We had that discussion. Don't you believe in bringing liberation? I said, no, I'm never good friends. That didn't lead anywhere good, though, I'll tell you. Not the thing to say to her. Oh, that's the worst part.
Good, thank you. That was a great part of the evening when you can recognize students who have accomplished so much. So thank you again for coming. I need to go back just in the agenda a bit for any disclosures of interest. No disclosures of interest. Okay, thank you. And also approval of items not requiring separate discussion. Mover, Councillor Desmarais, seconder Councillor Main, all in favor? And that would be carried, thank you. We did the recognition delegations, man. Okay, I have a very small mayor's report. I'm just pleased to report that Mayor Maloney will be back on the job starting July the 1st. It's been my pleasure actually over the past few months, 4 months, filling in for him. And I'd especially like to thank Councillor John Main, who stepped up to assist me with the duties of Deputy Mayor. And he will now continue on as Deputy Mayor to Mayor Maloney until the end of November. But special thanks go out to the clerk. Unfortunately, she's had a death in her family and she's not here tonight. But I want to thank her for keeping me on the straight and narrow, just like Peter did tonight, stepping in for her. And the CAO for making my job as acting mayor in that 4-month period very, very easy. And a special thanks to Nancy Giles, who really is the glue that keeps everything going. She keeps you on the straight and narrow. She gives you your monthly agenda, and you do not deviate from that monthly agenda, because she's on the phone asking you where you are. See, she wasn't here this past weekend, and I missed the 24th annual 444 Mayor's Cup presentation. I went to the 444 tournament this weekend on Friday and gave my opening remarks on Friday night. There were 98 teams from all over the province and some from the U.S. Teams even as far as Kingston. And that night they gave an award because they have this little pre-fishing tournament. And there was a fella there that caught an 11-pound walleye, like 11 pounds. But he got $4,000 for that, so that wasn't too shabby. So, but I do send my apologies to the Port Colborne Conservation Club, who actually does a fantastic job with that tournament. But I'm sorry I forgot to show up to present the Mayor's Cup. That was team number 42. That's what the cup went to this year, and it's the team who weighs in with the smallest weight that won that cup, the Mayor's Cup, and his name was Bernard Lewandowski. He was from Dupuis, New York. And then the fellow who actually won the grand prize was a Dave Moody and his team from Lowbanks, and they won $10,000 for their fishing that day. So that was fantastic. The mayor's first job back on the job will be attending our Canada Day ceremonies taking place at H.H. Knoll Lakeview Park. The city has partnered with the Optimist Club and will be holding Optimist Day in the park on Friday, July the 1st, from 11 to 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., of course, there will be the fireworks. It'll be a fun-filled day in the park with lots of activities and entertainment for the whole family. The city, with the assistance, Sobeys is going to be providing the cake, and that will be cut, I believe, at 2 o'clock p.m., and then the fireworks will be at dusk. So a special thank you to the volunteers from the Optimist Club helping us celebrate Canada Day. At our last council meeting, I was asked by council to invite Suzanne Johnson, the CEO of the Niagara Health System, to this meeting to speak to us about the plans for the UCC in Port Colborne. But unfortunately, she was in another commitment tonight and then is away on holidays in July. So she'll be attending our council meeting on August the 22nd to bring us up to date on our UCC, because there have been many questions flying around about that. So she'll be coming then to speak on that subject. The regional councillor regrets that he cannot come this evening, and he has no report, or did not send a report for me to read from, so I don't have that. The next are councillors' items, starting with Councillor Desmarais.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I have 3 items this evening. First is a good news, bad news story. Bad news, there was a fire on Clark Street. Good news, 4 lives were saved because smoke alarms were used. It's a really very strong and important message that needs to get out there to the community, that smoke alarms save lives, and there's just no excuse not to have them. So very, very important thing. Next, along the same lines, is about burning bans. I see there are other municipalities that are instituting burning bans considering the dry weather, and I would actually like to have our fire chief speak to whether or not Port Colborne will be doing that, or whether we should be considering doing that.
Chief?
Your Worship, the Council. The topic has been a topic of discussion. Mike and I have met several times. I've had discussions with all regional chiefs. Ourselves and Fort Erie are the only ones at this point that aren't or don't have a fire ban, as far as I can determine. We are contemplating instituting one. I've got a little bit of rain last night, but really not a lot. The forecast isn't showing us that we're going to get much more. So over the next couple of days, we're going to make a final determination as to whether or not we will have a fire ban put on in the city as a whole. At this point in time, any request to burn in the rural area by farmers, we are not approving that at this particular time to try to alleviate any issues in the rural area as much as possible. If a fire ban were to be imposed, it affects us in a couple of different ways. The first one is that we will then actively tell people to put out fires. If we see them, we will be stopping and going in and putting them out. If you refuse, we will invoice you, bill you for it. The same as we would if you refuse, if you have a second fire. We will be billing immediately if in fact you don't put it out and we have to stop and have it put out. So that's number one. The other thing that is a bit concerning to me is if we have a fire ban, a fireworks ban goes along with it. Now, our proposal at this point in time is that if a public display has been authorized by council, we will allow that to continue to move ahead unless the situation really deteriorates between now and any future events. That's an added safety feature. It won't affect Canada Day for our municipal display, and it won't affect either Shirkston because they shoot their water or their fireworks in the water now or off the water, as well as Humberston Speedway. They use the infield as surrounded by dirt, so we're quite confident it's relatively safe there. So I don't think it'll affect the already approved fireworks displays that the public may be able to go and see. In the future, if things don't get a little more moist, we may have to revisit that particular issue. The other thing is it means the campgrounds. And I know this is not going to sit well with the campgrounds. We're going to, if we impose a ban, it's going to be reflected with them as well. They won't be able to have open fires in their campgrounds. Our intent is that we will advertise it both on the radio, we will advertise it in the local papers, we will put it on our website, the fire department website, use our Facebook page as well as the city's website. We'll do the best we can with some kind of a news release to let as many people know as possible. In fact, we will deliver the notices to the campgrounds that are going to be affected by this. So that's our intent. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions. I'd like to speak to the fire on Clark Street too, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them on the fire ban.
In regards to open fires, but people who have the screened-in closed things, will they be allowed? The ones that have the like, it's like I call it a fire pit, but it's a screened-in, closed, contained fire?
Your Worship, if I can, our bylaw doesn't allow that at any time. If we get a complaint, you've got to put it out.
Okay.
So if there is a fire ban, my answer, the short and sweet answer is no, they would not be permitted.
Thank you. Okay, and now then if you could comment on Clark Street, that would be great.
Is there any other questions on the fire ban? If not, I'd like to talk about the Clark Street fire. We're still relatively having a poor showing with regards to our door-to-door campaign and what we're finding locally with regards to smoking and carbon monoxide alarms. We're still in around the 60% of non-compliance, one or the other or both. We did have an issue, or we had an instance that, as Councillor Desmarais mentioned a second or two ago, that we had a near miss on Clark Street. They were tenants. The owner, who lives in Ajax, congratulated him on making sure his smoke alarms on both levels worked. They were interconnected. I've got some pictures, and I actually brought the smoke alarm that was hanging in the ceiling outside of the bedroom that the mom and dad were living in. They had an infant, a 2-year-old, and 2 adults in the house. And when you see the pictures, you'll certainly realize how lucky they were. He did everything right. He got the family out and he shut all the doors, and it kept the fire contained so that it didn't break any glass and didn't get out of hand. We were able to knock it down relatively easily. The fire started in a couch. It looks to be electrical at this particular time. We haven't totally determined that because there's some phone jacks and phone chargers and so on involved. But the reality of the situation is the smoke alarms, in my view, saved 4 people's lives. It's that simple. So I think I congratulated the owner of the home, and I also spoke to my fire prevention officer actually spoke to the family, because what happens from time to time is people disconnect them, and they'd left them working, and he had a fire safety attitude. So it worked out well for us. So we talk about the bad, but we've got to also mention the fact that they do save lives, and we've got proof of it, by all means. So, if I could, Your Worship, I'd just like, there's two minor other little things if I could just make a short mention of. We have partnered with St. John's Ambulance starting in July. Every 3 months, we'll have a baby seat clinic at the fire hall, and that's going to go on as long as St. John's Ambulance wants to come and do it. They're sending technicians that are fully trained. They're using our facility. Those dates will be posted both at City Hall and on the city's, the fire department's website, as well as Facebook. And St. John's Ambulance is also going to advertise it. One other thing, if I can, Lakeshore Catholic High School, along with our Fire Prevention Division, won a provincial Fire Safety Award. That presentation has taken place in Toronto, and we are planning on doing a likewise presentation in council, hopefully at the last meeting in July. So that's something we should be proud of it, and we're going to show the videos that were developed. There's, I believe, 3 short videos that bring on the message with regards to carbon monoxide and working smoke alarms in the home. So the city, we're going to get we've gotten some recognition for our efforts with regards to our people as well as Lakeshore Catholic High School. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Councillor Demery, you had another one? One more? Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes, I do have one more item, and it's one I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing about, but the issue isn't resolved, so I will bring it forward again. It's shopping carts. They're all over the place. I took it upon myself to just to go through 2 streets over in the East Village last Monday and took pictures of the carts. I think I just took pictures of 9 carts, but there's just 2 streets. Send them in, and still they haven't been picked up. As of today, they're still lying there. I went looking for more. There are 34 carts in total. It doesn't, it might not sound like a lot, but I'll tell you, it is a lot. And this is over Ward 2. This is not just in the East Village. And Councillor Main and I were actually discussing that now with the water being quite clear, if you take a look along the promenade and look down into the canal, you can see some at the bottom of the canal too. So this is an issue that is hitting the whole city. It really needs to be dealt with. The police tell me that no one can push the idea that these are thefts. And they are thefts. People are taking the carts from the store and walking away with them. But only the store can report the theft. Only the store can pursue this, not us. No one else can do this. So we really need the store to take ownership of the problem. We can help in many ways maybe, but we need the store to take ownership, and that's not happening. So I would urge staff to be maybe to write a little more strongly worded letter, or we need to do something. I know that you, Acting Mayor, have gone to see the manager of the store, and I don't think that resulted in a lot either, because it was just before I sent the pictures in, and still nothing has happened. So these are issues, and I know this is happening in many municipalities, but this is our municipality, and we have to stop this.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Main, did you have any items?
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Through you to, I guess, Chris Lee. I have the opportunity on the weekends to sail to quite a few marinas. And without a word of a lie, our marina is a disgrace as far as the weeds go. We've been talking about the weed problem for a number of years. And it's got to the point now where even the fish are dying because there's lack of oxygen in the water. I was over to Dunkirk on the weekend, and there's 4 marinas there that I visited, and there's absolutely no weeds. Now, I don't know how they're getting rid of the weeds. I know they have a weed cutter, but we just had about 65 or 70 boats come in from the interclub race, and they're all sailboats, and they'll be all clogged up with weeds by the time they leave tomorrow morning. It just seems like there's no talk about it, there's no investigation, and I know they were going to look at some dredging. And I know that $100,000 in the bank for dredging means absolutely nothing. That wouldn't get the equipment here. So would you know of any other avenue that we'd be able to use to remove the weeds or get rid of the weeds altogether?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Main. I'm not certain of the status of the current weed harvester that we have on site. I don't think that it's been broken down, but we can definitely verify that in the next day or so. But I know we have the harvester and the cutter. obviously that hasn't been used to date, so there's either something wrong with it or somebody's been slow in the uptake on it. But anyway, that being said, that's the only methodology that I am aware of currently that the MNR is going to allow us to harvest the weeds with. So,
through you, Acting Mayor, to Chris, the weed cutter is working. I don't know if they cut deep enough, but with the aggression of those weeds out there, it just seems when they'll clean out one area, say dock 1, and they go over to dock 2, well, the ones in dock 1 are catching up already. It just seems to be a very fertile arrangement there for these weeds to grow.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Main. I'll have a chat with the marina manager and just see what the timetabling is on how often he's doing the harvesting. Maybe it means nothing more than more hours being spent and more staff time, but I think at this point that's probably our only methodology. It might just be a case of frequency.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone? Councillor Dash.
There we go. Through you to Chris again. Just a small complaint there. Individuals complaining about some sight lines on Knoll Street there around the 108 Knoll. It says a large tree, and he's had to hit his brakes a few times and some nearby collisions. So I don't know if we can maybe take a look. Apparently it's a city tree, so it's on our so-called property. So if someone could take a look at that, I'd appreciate it. And that's all I have.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Danch. We'll definitely have staff have a look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this evening you all received a memorandum at your station from our Utilities Department, Operations Utilities Department, and I believe Mr. Lee is going to speak to us about that. So, Mr. Lee, if you could give us an update on where we are with the meter replacement project. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to all of the councillors. Essentially what's happened at this point in time is that we have a number of residents that are not phoning in and making appointments to have their meters changed. That being said, we've gone through multiple tries with not only the contractor in a 3-step process, but also the city with that process as well. And we have a number of residents currently that we're just basically getting no response whatsoever. And what we are intending with this memorandum is to give council a heads up, if you would, that we'd like to invoke the clause that's highlighted within this little memo that states that we can shut off the water if there's an issue or a contravention or any discrepancies of that nature or refusal. That being said, it appears we're trying to wind this contract down, and we're trying to get all of the homes changed over to the new metering system before the contractors are completed and left town. There's a time frame associated with that, and that being said, this is trying to expedite that and bring that all to culmination. We seem to be getting no response whatsoever, and we're trying to do it through this clause right now.
Any questions to that? Well, Councillor Bodman.
Maybe just a comment too. So Chris, lots of warnings. It says here there's going to be a tag put on people's doors saying the next day we'll turn your water off. So with that being said, I sure hope that council doesn't entertain any pleas from people coming back here and saying that they, you know, want a break on whatever fine or you know, whatever it costs them to get it turned, and does it cost them to get it turned back on, is my question. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Bodden. Presently, the contractor is given a 3-step process. They've been given 3 notifications to each of those homes. When that was unsuccessful, then the city invoked 3 notifications to each of these homes, and we still have no results. So at this point in time, it's basically we're getting desperate and trying to get their attention, if you would. We want to make this happen. We don't want it to drag on, and the notification, as it's laid out in the memo here, is that they would get a notification on their door on depending which zone they're in, but in particular, the one, for instance, would be on the June the 28th, at which point city crews would go in on the 29th and shut the water off if they didn't respond and make an appointment. If the appointment's made, then all of that becomes null and void. The contractor, Neptune, can get in and do the installation in a matter of minutes. I've witnessed a number of them myself personally, and they're not in the home longer than about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the location of where the meter is. Some of them, it's even less time. But on the average, it's 5 to 10. That being said, it just needs to be, people need to make time to make this happen for us so that we can complete this contract.
Thank you.
Just, I didn't hear the answer to my question though. Is there a charge to get the water turned back on?
At this point, that's not the intent. We just want to make this happen as soon as possible.
Thank you. My question would be, what happened to this flat rate that if they don't get a meter, we're going to charge them $600 a quarter? You don't get a meter, we're just going to charge you a flat rate, which I think is a really good idea, because if it comes out of your pocketbook, you kind of tend to. What happened to that?
That is an option, Deputy Mayor. The real issue here, that's part of the issue, but there's another underlying issue in the equation, is that if we don't get these changed out under the contract, and the cost to the city to change these out later is going to be at a very high rate. Mm-hmm. Eventually they will have to get charged out, and as you say, we can go to the flat rate. That's also an option, but at this point we try to avoid that as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. And will we say in our final notice that you said you've tagged second notice, third notices, and called, et cetera, and some of these people have still not responded in any way, shape, or form? Will there be a charge then, if the date has passed, and if everything else has failed, will they be charged to have the meter installed? Because they haven't, now they're getting a replacement, it's not costing them anything, it's giving them a very fair meter reading. But if they're choosing to avoid all that for whatever reason, and they are only about 15 minutes when they come into your house max, that's all they were at my house. I would just like to comment on that as well.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, that is an option that we can entertain at Council's direction.
Well, just in my opinion, if that's just me, I just think that they've been given enough, I guess, warnings. They know this is happening, and I'm really happy though. We got 98% done. That's great. Councillor Demery, did you have a comment about that?
I do. Thank you, Acting Mayor. Through you to Chris. Chris, do you know that if a large proportion of the properties left to do are rental properties, or are they places where owners are living?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Demery. I'm not certain on the ratio percentage-wise, so I couldn't comment to that at this point. I just know of the addresses. We can determine that if we went back and looked at the data.
Well, my concern is that we may have owners coming to us afterwards saying, we didn't know that there was a tag put on the door that our water was being cut off because it was our tenant. I'm wondering if we're making every effort to make sure that the owner of the property is actually contacted. That's my concern. It's just so that we later can say you have no excuse.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Demery. It's my understanding that we're trying to contact both the owners and the tenants. So,
thank you, Chris. I had a totally other question, not with water meters or anything, but because lack of water, lack of rain, and as the chief said, we have. So I'm just wondering. When I was looking at the check register, and I saw how much we pay for grass cutting, etc. Are we cutting back on grass cutting since it's not growing with no rain?
To you, Deputy Mayor. The Public Works Department is still cutting the same amount of grass as required. There hasn't been any change there. The roadside mowing is basically just a two-cut system right now. It was, the first cut was done in mid-May, before the June 1st date that the ban on some of the roads were for the pollinators. And the next cut scheduled on that is in the fall. So.
Okay.
The Public Works Department, though, is just cutting the grasses as need be. We haven't really noticed a decrease as of yet, but we suspect that things are going to dry up.
So what about in our parks?
We pay by the cut, so we haven't kind of looked to see if we're down from last year and done that comparison, but that certainly can be done.
Okay, yeah, I'd appreciate it because there's no use cutting it if indeed there's no grass growing, right? Anyways, that's just a comment. Anybody, any other further comments? None? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. There are no items requiring separate discussion. Are there any notices of motion? No notice of motion. An adjournment. Councillor Danch and seconded by Councillor Bodner. All in favor? That would be carried. Thank you. We will now move into the council portion of tonight's meeting. Any introduction of addendum items, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, Deputy Mayor, we have one addition, and that was item number 25, which was provided to all of council.
Mover and a seconder for confirmation of the agenda, Councillor Danch and Councillor Bodner. Any disclosures of interest? Any disclosures of interest? The adoption of minutes, I'll do them in bulk. Adoption of the special meeting of council held on May the 24th. Special meeting of council 1616 held on June 13th. And regular meeting of council 1716 held on June 13th. Moved by Councillor Main, seconded by Councillor Desmarais. All in favor? And that would be carried. Thank you. Are there any items requiring separate discussion? None? Approval of items not requiring separate discussion? Councillor Danch, Councillor Desmarais. Consideration of, oh, sorry, all in favor? That's sorry, all in favor. That would be great. Thank you. Consideration of items requiring separate discussion. There were none, and that's not correct. Thank you. Proclamations. World Hepatitis Day on July the 28th, 2016, and the South Niagara Ministries Awareness Month for October 2016. Mover, Councillor Main, seconder, Councillor Bodner. All in favor? And that would be carried. Thank you. Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees. I have the minutes. We all have the minutes in our package. Minutes of the Port Colborne Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting on May the 16th. The mover, Councillor Main, seconded by Councillor Danch. All in favor? And that would be carried. Consideration of bylaws. Mr. Clerk.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. We have 5 bylaws to be approved by council this evening. The first bylaw being 6375-5516, being a bylaw to close temporarily to vehicle traffic sections of various streets for the purposes of the 2016 Canal Days Festival. Bylaw 6376-5616, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 6145-11114, respecting the removal of the holding symbol from lands known as part of Lot 32, Concession 2, and part of road allowance between Concession 2 and 3, Reference Plan 59R, 15331, municipally known as 650 Barrack Road. Bylaw number 6377-5716, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 1150-9781 as amended, respecting lands legally described as part of Lot 7, Concession 5, municipally known as 9042 Netherby Road. And bylaw number 6378-5816, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 1150-9781 as amended, and further amend bylaw 5241-14708 for all lands located within the City of Port Colborne, Regional Municipality of Niagara. And bylaw number 6379-5916, being a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the City of Port Colborne at special and regular meetings of June 27th, 2016.
Thank you. Mover, Councillor Desmarais, seconder, Councillor Bodner. All in favor? And that would be carried. Thank you. Yeah, and now we just need a motion to return to our recessed closed session Moved by Councillor Danch, seconded by Councillor Main. All in favor? And that council now proceed into closed session in order to address the following matters. A memorandum from the Director of Planning and Development dated June 22nd, 2016, regarding an unsolicited offer for the city to acquire private property pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001, subsection 2392C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And then, yeah, okay. And then we just need an adjournment, Councillor Danch and Councillor Main. Thank you.